Hello IED students. This video is on line conventions and center marks for activity 1.2.3. So the main lesson objectives, first you're going to understand what line conventions are and how they are applied. And two, you're going to learn what a center line and a center mark is and how to draw them correctly. So let's talk about line conventions. So line conventions are rules that professionals use to standardize the way lines are displayed on technical drawings. Lines used in multi-view drawings are differentiated by weight, either thick or thin, heavy or light, and by style, either bold or dashed or broken. Lines of varying style and thickness are used in specific ways to graphically communicate information about an object's geometry. So if you look at the picture to the right here, you can see that we have object lines, and so object lines are drawn very thick, and so those lines actually create the object that we're trying to design. Hidden lines show us edges that we know exist but we can't see, and then center lines show us the center of arcs, circles, and things like that. We'll talk more about that. We'll talk more about some of these other lines later, but for now, we're just trying to understand that there are lots of different lines out there that we use, and we're going to talk mainly about hidden lines and center lines today. So line types, construction and object lines. So let's talk about a construction line. So a construction line is a lightly drawn line used to guide a drawing or other lines and shapes. And so here's an example of what a construction line looks like. It's very simple, fairly thin, and not very heavy. An object line is a heavy solid line used to represent the outline of an object. An object line always takes precedence over other line types. Well, what does that mean, takes precedence? It means that it rules over all the other lines. This line is the primary line. So if you're unsure about whether or not you should use an object line or a construction line, the object line always wins, and an object line is drawn thicker and dark. The other type of line is a hidden line. And so the definition of a hidden line is a heavy dashed line type that represents an edge that is not directly visible. So here's just a series of short dashes, and it's drawn typically in a medium weight. And so we'll kind of go over some examples of what a hidden line looks like here. Let's talk about center lines and center marks. So center lines are basically defined as a line that defines either the center of an arc, circles, or symmetrical parts. So when we talk about center lines, a center line is used to show the center between two lines or edges, or locate the center of a symmetrical view in which one half is the mirror image of the other. And so on the next slide, we'll actually talk more about how that looks like. Then we also have what's called a center mark. And a center mark is used when you're indicating the center point of an of a circle or arc. Two perpendicular center lines are combined into a center mark, and a center mark should be placed on the view where the feature appears or as a circle or arc. So indicating a center line, so we're just focusing on a center line. And so using the definition from before, here you can see that we have a multi-view drawing. We have a top view right here, and then we have our front view, and then we have our right side view. And so you can tell by the isometric view that it's a three-dimensional shape, and it looks like basically like a ring. And on the top view, we need to show where the center of the circle is. And so the center of the circle is represented by this line right here. That is a center line. It also lines up with the view directly below it. Same way with the right side view. Here we also have another center line. And so again, this lines up with the front view as well. So those two lines are center lines. I also want to note that we have a short dashed line right here. And so this is an example of a hidden line. Okay, so we know that that edge exists because we can see it here and we can see it right here. But we can't see through the object. We're assuming that this isn't made out of glass or clear plastic. And even if it was, we would still represent that edge with what's called a hidden line. And again, you can see that on the top view and then on the right side view as well. So that's what a hidden line is, an edge that exists but we cannot see. So indicating a center mark. So again, a center mark is a little bit different. So this actually indicates the center point of a circle an arc, or two perpendicular lines, okay? I'm sorry, a circle or an arc. And we do it by having two perpendicular center lines that are combined to make a center mark, okay? So here, the difference between this view and this view is that we have this little bullseye thing right here. So again, we have a center line right here, and then going through here and here. But then we also have a line that's perpendicular or 90 degrees to the vertical one, okay? And so that mark right there is actually a center mark. And so that line is telling us that we have a center mark for these circles. Now we need to make sure that the center mark also extends out past the outside circle as well, because this is a circle and we need to show that we have the center mark for this outside circle as well. Sometimes what students will do is they'll click on this circle right here, and then this little line doesn't go beyond the outer object. Also, we have an arc located right here. And here you can see I have a radius of 1.75. And so that's the distance from the center of my arc to the outside edge here. And so again, I've got a center mark. Even though it's not a full circle, it's still an arc, which is essentially part of a circle, right? And so if I were to continue drawing this arc all the way through to complete my circle, well, I need to know where that circle is located so I can actually properly place the center mark on there. If you have any questions or concerns, or you still need more explanation on how center lines and center marks work, or what a hidden line is, then by all means, please feel free to ask. All right, good luck.